And good morning, Hoosier Nation, and welcome to another victorious, exciting, great response to a tough loss edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Ohio State. 2 nights ago, your Indiana Hoosiers go on to defeat Ohio State 71-65, improving on the season to 11-4 and a very good, let's keep it going, 3-1 in the Big Ten. What a great way to rebound and flush the Nebraska game. Maybe I shouldn't say rebound, as that's a touchy space in this game, but what a way to respond to that Nebraska game. IU's always done a good job in the past of responding sometimes when these big games happen, when these tough losses happen and everything. And great to have the schedule line up like this and IU to be able to get home and figure some things out. And this was definitely just a game of runs back and forth for both teams, with Ohio State having a really tough 8-0 run to start the second half. And they were up by 9 at one point, and things looked a little rough at that point. I know we were all probably biting our nails and a little scared of what was to come, but just great performances in the second half by Xavier Johnson, Malik, and CJ Gunn that helped IU close out this game. Great heart and toughness from this squad, from the guys that were on there, and just shows how great it is to have Xavier Johnson back for this team. Welcome to Hoosier Morning After. I'm your host, Chad Schwartzkopf. Martha's on the road today, so unable to join us. So you got me for the day. So those of you in the live chat as we go along today, if you have any questions or anything, I will try to have a moment where I get to those at the end of it and everything. But thanks for being with us on this show. You can see those that are watching on the video wise and everything. I am on the road here in a hotel in the DMV. I wonder if there's a certain player that's out of the DMV that IU is going after that I should look into and see if I can find him around here, find his family members, tell him about Hoosier Nation. But if the show drops out or gets a little glitchy at some point, we can tip our hat to the wonderful hotel internet that sometimes we get, but seems to be doing well, so we'll continue on as we go. But what a great response for IU, and really what triggers a game like this for IU is having Xavier Johnson back. And I think in this game, he really took a step forward. I would say he's not fully back to the Xavier Johnson that we know he can be and that he will be, but just contributed in ways that has been missing and that we've needed. The penetrating into the paint, the pick and roll game that he plays with Malik and the big guys is something that has been sorely missed. X finished with 18 points, 4 for 9 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. So great to see him get his 3-point shot back. Would love to see him hit a few more. And was 8 for 11 on free throws. Had that interesting air ball. Obviously, he got maybe a little bit tired at the end. His conditioning may not fully back. And it was great to see the TV cameras get on him and see that emotion out of Xavier. See him smiling about those missed shots. And for me, both being only able to get to one game this season, and from what I've seen on TV, great to see that emotion back on the court. The team is otherwise fairly straight-faced, so love that energy and that emotion that X brings to the team as well. And equally so, what was great to see as X gets back up to rhythm was that he had no turnovers in this game. And Seth Tao on Twitter posted that this was only the second time since X has been at IU that he has had no turnovers. So great stat. Great to see that. Great to see him getting back into rhythm. And obviously he's hungry to be there and be in this team. And it just continues to show what kind of trickle-down effect X can have on this team in setting up Malik like he did. His drives, like I said, kick and drives, opens up things for other players. And just we saw a more relaxed Trey Galloway in this game. And he didn't, while he didn't have a huge scoring game from Trey, just seemed more relaxed, and him able to be more of a role player in a game was great to see. And I think as we continue on with X back, we'll see some more of that production come out of Trey. Those backdoor dives that he has done in the past that we haven't seen from him because he's been the main ball handler. I look to see that next game. Look for that in the games, and you'll remember me saying that here. But and just also X's pressure on defense. While I think Trey and Cups did their best, they just don't have that next level movement laterally that X has, and that ability to get up in the guard's face to slow down the point of attack. And I think that was a main reason as well that Ohio's offense really struggled in the second half, making shots and everything. They did have a few open three looks to take in the second half, but I think IU's pressure defense really made them struggle in the second half, trying to get those in. Obviously, by the stats, if you look at, Ohio State went 2 for 12 in the second half. So that was a major factor for IU. And I love what they were able to do on the defensive end in the second half. The next person that I obviously want to talk about that I think this was a very important game is CJ Gunn. He's been one that you've heard on this show, Martha and I criticize, and that comes more from an era of we know what his potential is and we know what he can be. And it's just frustrating that he struggled to get that to come out. And I think this was a great game for him to get on the floor and figure things out. I think a lot of that had to do, his extra play time probably had to do with maybe him having a good week in practice for IU. Maybe coach saw a few things from him. And I think as well, it was Mackenzie Mbako who struggled defensively in this game. He allowed Battle to kind of get in some rhythm and everything in that first half. And coach needed to go someone that was going to be a little more pressured. And CJ stepped up in those minutes that he needed to. And I think most importantly, this game, not only from a contribution and everything for the team, but what it did for CJ mentally. If you are on any sort of social media for IU, they probably put it on Facebook, but I saw it on Twitter. Coach Woodson put out the video of him walking in to the locker room with the two game balls and passing them out to players. And the very first one that he brings in, he bounces to CJ. And you can just see in CJ's face him holding back some emotion there, because that meant a lot for him. And that little gesture from coach, that little acknowledgement from coach is going to go such a long way. You saw relief in CJ's eyes. You saw just such a range of emotions there in that little split second of that video. So I encourage you to go back and watch that, because it's something that we can hopefully will be able to point to in the future of this game and these moments as being contributing factors to bringing out of CJ what we've all seen in him and what we know he could be. So very excited for that. And equally what kept him on was his on-ball defense. The pressure were big contributing factors for IU. He finished with 10 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, had 1 steal. No other real blemishes on the game there. And I think that it's great to see him, that shot fake and that pull up for that long two. I'm not a big fan of all those long twos that he takes. Rather just take a couple steps back and get that three. But hey, we'll take what we can get. But the extended run with the starters is also something I think that contributed to helping get his offense going and allow him not to have to feel like he had to force things. I think in the last couple games, the way IU has had to play and how the substitutions have gone with Coach Woodson really kind of doing a line change almost of the bench coming on. When CJ was on with the most of the bench players, you saw him forcing his offense, I would say. He felt like he needed to be that scorer. He needed to be someone that can contribute and needed to step up in that lineup situation. And in this game, he was able to be just more of a contributing factor. And I really liked the extended run of that kind of lineup as well. I think the defense overall, I mean, I'll skip talking to a few other players. I'll get back to a few other players as well in this, but the defense overall was just so much better in this game. Again, that's not to say that there weren't moments, because definitely were moments. They got a lot of open threes in the second half, but I think they had to work for those threes a lot more. The defense made Ohio State have to work hard through their screens, and contested shots happened a lot for them in the latter part of the second half and some of the first half. And I think that just kind of wore them down. And I think is why they did miss a lot of the shots that they did. And Ohio State is known for their great guard play. And again, that harkens back to what I've already said, that Xavier Johnson being back out there for this defense disrupts things at the point of attack for them. And coaching staff wisely at the end of this game went with a smaller lineup. And that was why, again, CJ was able to contribute like he did, going with 3 guards, Trey, and CJ, with the maturity level and experience of Walker in there as well. And then Malik underneath in the 5, and allowed IU to be kind of 4 out on some offensive possessions. And I like the makeup of that lineup there. And I think CJ obviously can be interchanged with McKenzie at some points if McKenzie's having a better game and isn't on a player that he needs to be as ratcheted down on defense. And that's, again, not a big stain on McKenzie's defense at all, because it's gotten a lot better from where it was at the beginning of the season. This was just a game that he was matched up against a veteran battle on Ohio State. And anytime that's going to happen for McKenzie, he is going to struggle. And the coaching staff luckily was able to go to a CJ gun that could lock things down. Trey also drew that assignment as well. We're able to rotate Trey onto that because CJ was able to play on the smaller 2 guard of Ohio State, but just great coaching from that standpoint. Malik as well continues to just be IU's best player. Loved the game we got out of him. He really took over in the second half and scored any way he kind of really wanted to, was able to stay physical and everything for IU. Had 19 points in the second half, only 4 in the first half, and did 10 for 16 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3. Again, I like him shooting those threes. His shot looks great. He finds them in rhythm. He's not forcing them, and just what that does to spread things out and just open things up for him overall. I think he did a lot better also with the double team in this game. He had kind of struggled, I think, in Nebraska with their double team. He did a good job going to his offhand, going to the right hand when he needed to in that double team. And also he tends to go over his right shoulder and go for that left hook a lot. That's his signature move and his most comfortable move. And he has forced it in the past when that double team has come. And there was a few times in this game where he faked to the right, going over his right shoulder, and then spun down on his left. We haven't seen that a lot by him. And he did that at least once. I have in memory that he did that, and it allowed him to finish with his right pretty easily. So I like the way he was able to find his game and what he did with his game, and finished with just 3 fouls. Again, he's going to get fouls. He's going to be physical and everything. The one thing that I would argue with him is I just would like to see him a little bit more bullish on the rebounds. Want to see him actively boxing out and everything. Him and I would say all the team tend to just kind of watch and wait and see where the ball's going to go. But I want to see him physically going for the ball. I think the only one I really see do that with some energy on IU is Walker. I've seen Walker kind of be physical about rebounds and going after the ball. It doesn't really reap from stats, but just he's the one I see crashing the boards the most for IU. Also as well, I think one thing that was a little tough to see is that I think Ware struggled in this game. Ware is going to have some hard times in games like this, and I think the word is out and the scouting is out for Ware is to just be physical with him. that physicality and everything he struggles with. And that was kind of a question going into this season that we had for him, because the Big Ten underneath is a very physical game, is a very physical place to play, very much so differently from what he's used to playing in other leagues and everything, and what he had to deal with last year at Oregon. Not as physical underneath as it is, and not allowed to play physical like the refs do for the Big Ten. So that's where he struggled in this game, and I think why we didn't see as much production from him. He did finish with a decent amount of points. Again, finished with, sorry, as I bring up the stats here, 8 points. He finished 4 for 9 from the field. He did take 1 3-pointer, which was nice to see. Again, I don't mind him and Renew taking those threes because they can hit them. They've got a decent shot. Don't mind that from our big guys at all. But most of his points really kind of came off lobs from guys getting underneath, and that's fine. That can be a way he can contribute and everything. But we've got to see more from him as far as rebounds and just contributing in other ways. And that physicality is something that the coaching staff is going to obviously recognize and see. And I'm sure it's something they continue to work with. And what better IU doesn't have, or does have, I should say, such a great person that can drill him in practices in Peyton Sparks. I mean, what a big physical guy that he can go against, and hopefully Peyton helps him with that. Hopefully we see Peyton in practices going at him, push him around, be physical with him, get him angry, and if that can happen, if he can do that for Ware, we could see him turn this around. But I do have concern for that, and I do have concern for how he's going to face that with the rest of this season, because it's not going to ease up on him, especially coming up as well with Rutgers. They're a very physical team as well, so that's going to be a struggle for him. And the bright side to that is that one of my favorite lineups, I hate to say it because he's such a great player, but is to when he is sitting and you have Malik in there with the very veteran, mental kind of gluish guy of Walker next to him. That smaller lineup, I think, as we saw in this game, reaps benefits for IU. So that was great to see. Moving on to some stats in this game. Obviously, the biggest glaring negative stat in this game was the rebounds, allowing Ohio State to get down 27 rebounds in this game, which led to, 27 rebounds by IU, 49 for Ohio State, led to 22 points for Ohio State. Hold on one sec. Getting the stats wrong. 22 offensive rebounds from Ohio State led to 24 points for them. So those points just shouldn't be. And that kind of rebounding. And I alluded to it earlier when we were talking about Malik and his need to improve his rebounding. And I think it's from all the team. If you watch on the games, IU's just watching those shots. IU's watching the shots go up. They're not actively boxing out. You don't see guards necessarily diving to get the rebounds as well. It's something that they need to work on. It's such a fundamental thing for IU, and it's something that we've seen from IU as Woody's been there. And obviously a lot of practice is taken up with Woody working on his defense and everything like that, but we need to see some improvement on those rebounds. Because coming up in this Rutgers game, they're going to play physical and they're going to be going after those rebounds too. So I look for that in this next game to see, not necessarily look at the numbers and see what the numbers say, but just look and see how active the players are in this game coming up and what they're doing when those shots are up. Are guys watching? Are guys turning around and trying to get going back the other way? What's happening? That is equal to guards staying engaged as well when they're away from the basket. Rebounding doesn't always have to be the guys that are 2-3 feet under the basket doing everything. There's been numerous times in this game and in previous games where you get frustrated. The other team will take a long 3-point shot, rebound will hit off the rim, go long, and somehow dribble out to one of the opponent's guards, and they get a fresh new possession right there. That happened a few times in this game and everything. So our guards as well in the perimeter need to be aware, get their bodies against their defender, box them out, even way out there, get position and be ready for that ball. Be ready for it coming off and how you're going to go get it. So I look for that in the next game. I'm going to be watching that in those positions from IU as well. The flip side, I will say one thing that won it for IU, and this is, again, thanks to having X back the way he is IU forced 14 turnovers from Ohio State, which led to 22 points for IU. So that was great to see. And equally so on the other end, only 4 turnovers for IU in this game. So fantastic to see those kind of stats for IU as well. In this game, again, shooting was pretty good, was kind of middle ground for IU, finishing 46% from the field, 41% from 3, took 12 threes, again, on the lower side, but IU continues to be making them at a higher clip. So obviously we need to find that within the offense a little bit more, and hopefully we can moving forward. Free throws, took care of business, shot a fantastic 75%, 12 for 16. Didn't get to the line as much as we have necessarily in the past, but Xavier Johnson getting to the line and shooting 11 free throws. Again, that just shows how his point of attack and him being aggressive helps IU in the long run. Points per possession for IU at the end of this game is 1.183. So great to see there as well. Layups, 50%, 9 for 18. Not the greatest to see as in that possession wise, but again, overall a decent game. 13 points from the bench, 40 points in the paint. Points off turnovers I already mentioned was great to see for IU. Just 9 second chance points. Again, we need to get those rebounds, offensive rebounds, only at 7. Get those up higher and make a few more second chance options for IU in these games. But again, closing out, my thoughts on this game is that just such a great way to answer on such a stinker of a game and really change our mentality on this team, change our view of how things can be. And when we were down in previous games, when we weren't feeling as good at the results that we've had in the past, it's always been a solace for me knowing that we always had Xavier Johnson to get back for us and how he can contribute and get better. And we saw that in this game. So just a great step forward for Xavier Johnson and how good of a player he can be for IU and can contribute. And down the road's just going to get better as we go. And then equally to have CJ step up in this game and to see CJ get that confidence and everything moving forward. And hopefully he can continue to build on that and see that he can just relax and play those minutes that he gets, continue to be a force on defense, and take those opportunities on offense when you have them. Don't force them. Don't feel like you have to take the shot, but take the offense when it comes to you, and you'll be great. And have Malik continue to be Malik and do the things that he does, and love to see how he's contributing for IU and what we're going to get from him moving forward. So very exciting to see all that. Obviously, IU next is playing Rutgers at 7 p.m. It's on the Peacock network. So sadly, one of those games that we have to watch on Peacock. So hopefully you already have your subscription. If not, go to Twitter and look at Inside the Hall. He's got a great affiliate link that you can use for that. I'll try to tweet to him, get him to tweet that out again ahead of this game. But always a tough game to play. Rutgers always plays IU very tough and has had our number in the past. So I really hope to see IU bring it on the road. It's tough to play on the road. It's always tough to play at Rutgers and everything. That game happening tomorrow evening for IU. So we'll see how IU responds. We'll see. Obviously, this team has had moments in the season and in the past where when they have struggled at one particular thing, they drill it in practice and then have come back the next game and done a lot better with it. It was obviously the turnovers between these two games, and now it's the rebounds. We'll see what happens for IU in that era. Also, programming note to say, as I am here in the DMV, I will be here the rest of the week, and I am going to be working early, so you might see a few shows have to be condensed down in these. We'll see what I can do. I'll try to get some Hoosier Morning After podcasts in where we can and everything, but we might have to consolidate 2 games into one show. So we'll see with that moving forward. Just follow me on Twitter. You can find that stuff out. But thanks for being with me on this edition of Hoosier Morning After. Follow me on Twitter at General Chadwick. Martha, you can follow as well at the Mop Lady. But thank you for being here with us and everything. Thank you for those of you along with us in the chat. I see you on Twitter as well, watching and everything. And those of you listening on the different podcast streams, thank you for listening. We'll be back again when we can. As I said, I am on the road, but thanks for being with us. Until then, guys, go out there, have yourself a wonderful day. And as always, let's go Hoosiers.